Wanting to add an accent wall to your room? You're in the right place. Here are the materials and supplies that you'll need for this project. I also want to note that the trim board is 1x3, but the actual measurement is 3/4 of an inch by 2.5 inches. You'll see how I use these measurements later whenever we're planning out the wall design. All right, you guys, so I'm doing some grid wall paneling behind our master bed, and I drew it out first, not to scale, but just to be able to see like how many boxes I want. And I found some websites that were really helpful. I can show you how I measured and like how you know if there's enough space going across and going height-wise up and down. I am putting verticals all the way up. Now my wall is like, okay, so I measured from this corner and then all the way across. But whenever I actually went to put a piece of 1x3 trim or like pine board up, it wouldn't fit right here, so I had to keep shaving a little bit off, a little bit off, a little bit off. But that same first size fit all the way down here. So I could give you my exact measurements, but every wall is going to be different, especially depending on how wide your baseboards are or how tall they are. So what I recommend is probably whenever you get to the vertical ones, cutting those to size each time. However, I have 24 horizontal boards that are going across. So I went ahead and cut these, and I'll show you guys a trick later on as well of how to save time by creating a pattern first in case you don't know how to do that. Something my dad taught me, so that was really handy. I'm going to start from this side and work my way over. So I will have this one up, and then I'm going to start with using a spacer. I have 2 spacers that I created that are 19.5 inches wide so that I make sure that they're evenly spaced. And again, I will show you guys that as I go. This is what I used in order to figure out how many boxes I needed to go across and up and down. And this is what I drew in order to have a visual of how I wanted the project to turn out. If you look to the left and right of the photo, this gives a better description of how I did the math and how I came up with these calculations. I'll start at the bottom and use the spacers to hold it, but the wood kept slipping down and I was having to hold it for a long time, so I just took a really little nail and nailed it right in the middle just to kind of have something there to hold it up. And then I'll just use some putty and fill that in. Alright, so what I'm doing here is making sure that it's level because it's not completely square on this side, so I have to really make sure to be careful that they go across level. At least to the best of my ability, but usually you can kind of fix that stuff with caulk. Okay, I think I'm going to do the nail trick every single time. Okay, these nails are going to hold the best. I'm going to go find more of those. Alright, so my next piece runs into a receptacle. So what I'm going to do is go up to it and then just do a little piece at the bottom to connect it and just make it blend. Okay, that took a little while for sure, but let me show you guys a few of the imperfections here, and I can show you tomorrow how I'm going to cover those. Even though this house is remodeled and we rebuilt walls and everything, it's just still not completely square. Right over here, that is a big space. I'm gonna fill it with caulk tomorrow. And then I put in this last board and I was having trouble fitting near the bottom, so I used a hammer to try to get it to go in, but then at the top there's a little bit of space there. So one thing you could have done to avoid this is to make sure to measure, you could have measured each one individually, but I don't think that's worth the time because once I get the caulk in there and everything's painted, you're not even going to notice it. There's all of these little spaces where they intersect. So I'm gonna go through and use caulk and then just take like a little wet paper towel to smooth it out. Whenever I'm finished and it dries after about an hour or two, I'm gonna take a little sander and smooth it out, and then we're gonna paint over everything. And then we're gonna do 2 coats of paint, I think. I just put very, very little, and I'm just going to rub it in the ground there. Yeah. Caulking everything because I just wanted to get all the little spaces, and then now after it's dry, I'm just gonna go back through and use like a little sanding block just to like smooth out some parts, making sure that if there's like any extra caulk that it'll come off. So brought in some reinforcements over here to help me finish caulking, and so we're gonna finish that over here, and the gaps that I'm talking about are just like little things in here, and then we're gonna finish this little part down here as well.